rock a body like I'm Fat Man Snoop. If I can make you sexually erupt like Snoop.
Alright guys, welcome to Around the Scene, presented to you by Playing with Rockets. I'm one of your hosts, PWR Ryan, and joining me today is not one, but two guests for the first time ever. First we have Daddy Perino returning to us once more, and the man stealthy enough to not have a Twitter handle, we have Stealth Ninja joining us as well. That icon, that one you see under his name is for his Twitch, so if you're interested, go check him out there. Guys, how are y'all doing?
I'm all right. I'm feeling good. Got some food in me. Got some Rocket League stuff to talk about. Always ready for that.
Oh yeah, I'm hanging here. You know, just got back not that long ago from doing some casting work for Rocket League. So today for me has just been Rocket League all day, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way.
That just sounds like a good time right there, if I'm being honest.
It is. It is.
Guys, if you didn't know, this is episode 6 of Around the Scene. We're here every Wednesday for you to get your fix on all things Rocket League. If you like this, please consider giving us a follow here or consider giving us a subscription. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us fund this as well as our tournaments that we do every week. Consider also kicking us a buck over on patreon.com/playingwithrockets if you prefer that over subscription. We thank you for joining us, and we encourage you to discuss and all that good stuff there in chat, but we're going to ignore you guys largely because we want to make a polished podcast for our future listeners there on YouTube. So today, quick shout out to our Patreon sponsors for the month of May. We got Father 5 and Jonesy. Thank you guys so much for that help that y'all provide us. For today's news segment, we've got a whopping 6 items. So the first one is Summer 2019 Roadmap has been announced. Really nothing major in it. Stuff about the only real major thing is that now on the post-match screen, you'll be able to party up with teammates if you enjoyed playing with them, like y'all were just vibed really well or something. And then some other quality of life stuff, but nothing really huge. Do you guys have much thoughts on this one? I mean, because it's really just, it's another one of those quality of life updates. I'm happy for it, but I don't really think it's crazy.
No, I'm just mainly looking forward to more about what Epic has to do with Rocket League and whether they're gonna dump money into esports. Whether hopefully they don't change the game at all. Maybe hopefully we get to keep our standard game, our Rocket League, our cars hitting the ball into each other, hitting the goal. Nothing changes there. Other than that, I mean, nothing's really gonna be changing anytime soon. I'm looking forward to RLCS. Other than that.
Yeah, the one thing they did mention in there that I thought was interesting was changes to the inventory management system. So I think a lot of people have been calling for this for a little bit, you know, especially now with the with the Rocket Pass and how many items everyone gets. Oh my God, it's craziness.
Well, because you can't trade them really either. They become like essentially useless.
Essentially, yeah, that's the thing. So
just fill up slots.
So I'll be happy to see that, although I know my man, John Salmon's going to be disappointed if it ruins his blind trading. Other than that, I think they'll survive, but, you know.
Man.
I think he'll be all right. I think John will be just all right on his own.
I think John's he'll find a workaround. You know, I mean, worst comes to worst, he will just blindfold himself. He can find himself in a game, and I think that would really kick up his videos a bit to play blindfolded.
Let me slide in his DMs and I'll let him know.
Yeah, I just double check on that one. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge update by any means. We've definitely seen some bigger updates. But real quick, I'll just run through it all real quick for those of you at home. If you are interested, you'll find this in the show notes whenever we post it on YouTube later tomorrow morning. So first, they have the summer event coming up, just like they've done the spring events and Halloween events and Christmas events. It's the same thing. And I realized recently we actually skipped the spring event this year. They didn't do one.
Oh, you're right.
Which I realized that earlier, and I was like, oh, that's odd. It was just very subtle. The next one is that party up system. So on the post-match screen, if you just really like playing with someone, you can party up with them. If you were doing threes and you just all vibed really well and you'll kill the other team, just pummel them into oblivion, you can do that. And then like Perino said, we have the inventory management apparently there's some update to trading coming in. They don't really state much on that. And then, of course, they just talk about RLCS Season 7, or 7 LAN. I can't say things. So, yeah, really not much going on there. You got anything else you want to add? Uh-oh. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. We got DreamHack Dallas casting talent that has been announced. Real quick, I'll run y'all through who is on that lineup. So the host is going to be Dreadnought. He's typically the host for the DreamHack Rocket League, so no surprise there. And then we have Gibbs and Turtle joining as the analysts. And then the casters are going to be JamesBot, Jorby, Corelli, and Achieves. One thing I did notice about this is Wavepunk isn't around. He seems like he's starting to get less stuff.
Yeah, sorry. I think we were just having a small connection issue there, but
yeah, looks like everything's good now.
Yeah, it looks like we're sort of reset and ready to go. But yeah, it was funny. I was actually talking to a producer friend that I know, and they were talking about the casting talent for DreamHack Dallas. I think they have an interesting lineup there.
Yeah, it's
see what they do.
It's interesting just because I don't think that they're like not talented or skilled. But the only one who really has like been doing this for a while there is Gibbs.
I don't know. I think JamesBot's been stepping up a lot.
I think JamesBot and Achieves have been stepping up a lot for sure, but we're not seeing like the same like bigger names like Wavepunk isn't around. We don't have Lawler there, and then
no Axel Toss.
Well, Axel Toss, that one I was expecting to not be there, but but like even Leaf X isn't going to be there, and since he's not going to be acting as host, I would have expected him to come in and be like an interviewer, like what Axel Toss did, but we don't even have anything on that.
Right. I do like the fact that they're bringing in Turtle, like who's a player, to be an analyst. I know a lot of different esports do that sometimes.
A lot of people have been loving him on the RLCS desk.
Yeah, Turtle's awesome.
Everybody's just been like, Turtle.
He's been a tremendous addition to the desk, I think, personally, but that's just me. I was a Turtle fan before he was on the desk anyway, so my opinion might be biased.
No, I think he's been a good addition. I think it is nice seeing former players go on to that, and because they can speak a lot more accurately to what is happening and give a better testament. Because the people that you're seeing on your screen, they've actually played against. They have competed against these people, so they bring a certain authority to it that I like seeing. I know they asked Dapper actually to join on the RLCS desk, and he had turned it down. And I was like, oh man, I would have loved to see Dapper like show up on the desk and stuff, but apparently he was just like, I'll be bad at it, so I don't want to do it.
I know. Besides Turtle, I think Quinn Lovedell, I believe is his name. He's an old player who retired, I think sometime last year. He's done analyst stuff as well for small events like these. Popping up here and there. I haven't seen him recently, but
oh no, he got dropped like a while back.
Yeah,
like, Psyonix dropped him like, oh man, how long ago did they drop him?
It was a couple seasons ago at least.
Yeah, I want to say that was like I want to say it was like right after season 5, if not before that they dropped him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fan opinion of Quinn was a little mixed, and I think that might be putting it lightly, but
oh yeah, very light. That's putting it nicely.
Well, as
the opinions on him were very rampant and very strong.
That's true.
Yeah,
he was definitely. I mean, I personally liked watching him. Seemed like an energetic guy sometimes, maybe a little bit too much, but yeah, you're right. He's been casted for a little bit. He did commentating as late as 2018. It looks like all the way till August, but it's been pretty.
Yeah, he's been done with them for a little bit. He got removed, I know for sure. But I don't know. It was just interesting to not see like Wavepunk of all people. Like he's always on that stuff. And so it was just weird for me to not see him. I mean, he also does Twitch Rivals, so there could be something going on that day with that. I think like the Twitch Rivals is actually like his main job. He does casting for them in like various games, so it could be that there's just something going on that day that maybe conflicts. I don't know. Just I found that interesting that he wasn't gonna be there because he's now, in my opinion, the most he's the only caster that's been there that long. Like he's been around like for quite some time, and I don't think anyone's been around as long as him and Gibbs.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, at least in terms of the RLCS desk. But
yeah,
maybe how long has Corelli been there? Not that long, right? Not since the beginning.
No, he hasn't been there that long, and he's been an RLRS caster too.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah, I think isn't that where Jorby came from as well? I feel like I haven't.
Jorby just got moved up to RLCS at the start of the season.
Achieves as well, right?
Achieves was already there.
No, I've seen Achieves.
He was doing collegiate stuff too, right?
Yeah. But
that's
like
where I knew him from.
I'm trying to think of how long he's been doing the RLCS stuff though. Maybe this is his second season. I don't think he's been doing the RLCS league play stuff for very long. I think this is his second season that he did that.
Is Fightable Carpet still around?
Nope.
I know.
Nope, he's gone.
Really? How long ago was that? I feel like I've seen him.
No, he at the start of like the announcement for season 7 and stuff. They were like, him and Axel Toss were the two who were like, nope, we're not coming back. Like this. Oh,
Axel Toss isn't doing RLCS anymore.
Yeah, but
no, Axel Toss is officially done. Where have you been, Stealth Ninja? Where have you been, man? This was Leafex was like officially decided as like his replacement. Like that was like a huge day in the community. Where have you been?
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just getting all hyped up because I got to meet him recently. He was doing StarCraft casting because that's
he's still doing casting. From. He's not a part of RLCS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's done on that. Psionics opted to replace him with Leafex, who Leaf I think has been doing a great job. I love Leaf. I'm a part of his Discord, so again I'm a little biased on that. But I mean he's been doing a fantastic job, I think, and he has like his own show and stuff too that he runs. So I mean he's got the chops for it.
Yeah, I actually really like the talent on the desk that they've brought in for this season. I know at the beginning of the season people were sort of freaking out, but as it's gone on, I think maybe the only pushback we've seen really has been on Jorby, but listen, if they want to hire me instead, just give me a call. Psionics, I'm here.
Yeah, I've seen. I can't say I've seen like a huge amount of backlash. I know that people are just upset that like a lot of the people who started up as casters are kind of gone now. But I mean, it is what it is. It happens. People come and go. At the end of the day, like it still is a job, and I mean, the other side of it too, though, is Psionics is gonna make the decisions that they want to make that they think are gonna benefit the scene the most. And I mean, Psionics has yet to really prove me wrong on taking things in a proper direction, so I'm inclined to go with them on things. But I mean, that's just me. You got anything else you want to add on that caster lineup or anything like that?
No, I just personally I want to go to DreamHack. I haven't made any personal plans yet, but it would be kind of cool to see these because last year I did go to DreamHack last year. Last year it was in Austin. They didn't have, instead of having the pro circuit, they did a collegiate invite thing where they went to the some of the top colleges in Texas and they all invited them to have like a grudge match.
Oh, okay.
And that was pretty cool. They got some of the CCA casters.
Nice.
There. I know Ninja Rider did that. So that was really cool. Got to see them live. Got to meet some cool people in the collegiate Rocket League scene.
That's
cool.
But
I know it was like a little step down. They took a year off and like let's give the collegiate scene a try because we know because that's only been going on for I think like a couple of years at most.
Yeah, CRL that hasn't been going on for very long.
I know because especially the CTA is completely student run. That's only been going I think almost 3 years. But even then, CRL happened I think afterwards.
Yeah.
And they worked together a little bit, but for the most part, the DreamHack stepping down from like the pro circuit and bringing in the collegiate people and showing that just these full-time students, these people with basically a full-time job besides Rocket League, are able to compete and to a high enough skill level that they can almost replace the pros at a place like DreamHack.
Yeah.
And seeing this happen, I mean, we're going back to the pro circuit as a standard, but I would love to see them do this more often. Maybe every other year.
Well, I think now that they have CRL, I'm fine with them not doing that. I like that they're increasing the pro circuit around DreamHack. I like that a lot, and I don't think I want to see that go away. I would like to see them maybe expand more with CRL and do stuff like what you're talking about, but I'm totally cool with them keeping DreamHack with like this pro circuit going on. I like that a lot.
Yeah, the difficulty I think with anything in the collegiate scene is, of course, that you're limited by the student body. So
exactly.
Again, I competed at least a little bit for Temple University, who is, I mean, we're a fairly large university. There's almost 30,000 students that go here, right? Which is huge.
It's a lot.
It's a ton, but we still had a hard time finding a team that was competitive enough at a high level. I mean, at the time, we had 1 grand champ and 2 champ 3s, which honestly is pretty good. But your talent pool is so limited that it really makes it difficult.
I think we'll start seeing CRL kind of come up as the game expands more and more. You have some really young players right now. That's all going to be changing. They're eventually going to go off to college, so I think that we'll see that gradually expand. We're gonna move on to the next bit, though. I think we spent enough time on that one. So the next bit of news is this one. We're just gonna kind of go over both at the same time. So this is a twofer, if you will. Justin is the Season 7 North American League Play MVP, and then Alpha 54 is the Season 7 EU League Play MVP. What are your guys' thoughts on those two as the MVPs? I think Justin deserved it. I can't speak too much to Alpha 54, but from what I've seen, I mean, he's been a stellar player.
Yeah, with regards to Justin, man, he started out, he was like Scrub Killer. Like, where at first, I believe he was too young to play, and everyone was just like, man, this guy's crazy. He was doing all this crazy stuff. And then when he finally hit RLCS, he didn't let anyone down. He did exactly what everyone expected. He absolutely destroyed in almost every game he played in. And,
I mean, he had a stellar rookie season, like
absolutely.
Stellar first season. To go all the way to the grand finals in your rookie season for LAN, get out of here. That's outrageous.
Yeah, and then when you look at Alpha 54, I think the reason he was MVP, if you look at the finals, the EU Regional Championship, Alpha on Barcelona was against Renault, like an undefeated team. And Renault
Vitality had been beaten by Triple Trouble, so they weren't entirely undefeated.
Well, they were undefeated up until that one. That's when I stopped keeping track, because I figured they would just go all in. They're my favorite team. But for the most part, in the regional championship, Barcelona was scoreless for a while. I remember them pointing that out because they lost the first 3 games of that best of 7. Then Alpha, coming out of nowhere, just started scoring all these goals for Barcelona. I believe he scored all but one of the goals in the 2 wins that they have, and then game 6, I'm sorry, and in that regional championship, putting up a decent fight. And I remember they were when they were talking to Renault after the game, they were like, "Hey, were you guys worried about Barcelona?" Like, a little bit, but I don't know. I think Alpha definitely put up a lot more for Barcelona than Barcelona had been previously putting out in the previous games leading up to that. And honestly, I think he deserves it. I think K-Dop made the right choice leaving Dignitas, as they are not even making it to playoffs. And now he's on back into RLCS.
Yeah.
Team.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen, again, in terms of North America, I mean, Justin's a god. It's that simple. I mean,
there's no short, like, you really can't state it any other way.
It really is that simple. He is just that good. So I don't think there was any doubt about that one. I think the other case for League Play MVP in EU, you probably could have made a shout for, I think Scrub Killa was a popular choice out there. I think he had a really good EU season.
Yeah.
But But I can understand giving it to someone because again, this was a team that was promoted right from the RLRS.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too. Is like I'm with you. I think that Alpha 54 was a good choice.
Yeah, and again because this is a team that they rose up, and then not only did they rise up at their LCS, but then they managed to get all the way to LAN too. You know, with a phenomenal regular season, they got picked up by one of the biggest sporting organizations in the world in Barcelona. So
yeah.
I mean, I think he's earned it. I understand why people might want to give it to someone else, but I do believe he's earned it.
I think that like I'm with you. I think that Alpha 54 was probably a great choice for this because of the fact that this was his rookie year for RLCS. This was his first season coming in to really compete. And again, they did make that rise from RLRS. And I mean, to go from RLRS all the way to top 2 in EU, like that's just crazy because there were so many teams that people were like, oh, they're going to be up in the top 2. I mean, you had Renault Vitality, Dignitas, the Bricks, TSM. And the funny thing is 3 of those teams are not in LAN. One of them is in promo relegation, which is just insane.
Yeah.
The 2 RLRS promoted teams both made it to LAN. Like, that's just wild. EU has just had so many changes to it and upsets. But Alpha 54, again, like, he also came from a crappy laptop and was still this good. Like, he still was this good with a shitty laptop. So, for me, like, I'm with you. I think that he had a lot of skill. I think he really helped carry them through this. I think that he definitely was deserving for it. And then, again, Justin, I mean, by week 3, it was looking like he was going to win possibly all 3 of the player accolades. So that's no competition for me on giving that to him.
Absolutely.
There's no one who stood out to that level that he did.
No. Justin being on NRG, going 7-0, just being completely undefeated as a rookie it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So there you have it. Those are the NA and EU League Play MVPs, Justin and Alpha 54. Congratulations to those 2. Moving on to the next bit of news. This one, we talked about it beforehand. I found this and like none of us had any freaking clue this even happened because it was just kind of like under the radar. But apparently it was broadcast on E-League. University of Akron are crowned the Collegiate RL champions at the 2019 NCAA Final Four Fan Fest. That happened this weekend. And it was broadcast on E-League. And both of you are like in the CRL scene. Perino, you were,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're still close enough to it that you knew that you would have known about this, I would have thought. But like literally none of us had any clue this happened this weekend. There was like no promotion on this.
Although, to be fair, there was the RLCS championship, both NA and EU this weekend. So a lot of the focus for Rocket League was there. And I know a lot of other collegiate stuff, like the ESPN's Collegiate East Championship event happened this weekend. So there was a lot of collegiate stuff
there was a lot of like esports stuff happening in general. Like this was a hectic weekend for esports.
Because wasn't the international right for League or? Sorry,
I mean they had like the international at Disney for Dota. They had RLCS regional playoffs for NA and EU. They had Texas Showdown here in Houston, which was a huge FGC tournament. The only reason I know is because I was there commentating. And they also had like CSGO stuff going on. Like it was a super packed weekend of esports in general. But it was just odd that like this just like skated by totally unnoticed. I was like, how did I not know this was happening this weekend?
Where did does it say where this happened? 'Cause I know, or was it just online?
No, it was a LAN deal. Like they actually like showed up at a place and played.
It was in Minneapolis.
I was gonna say, are you sure that this isn't the CRL stuff? Because like I'm looking at the article
It happened this weekend.
Huh.
Like, you can look on their Twitter and see, like, the highlights and stuff. It happened this weekend, but there was, like, no promotion for this.
But the tweet from the CRL Spring Invitational was, the tweet says April 7th.
That says when it happened? There's no way, because this was just posted. There's no way that they would make the article this late. Go
to the article. Thanks for tuning in. Here are some highlights from the E-League CRL Final Four Fan Fest, April 7th, 2019.
That has to be a typo. Because May 7th was, like, recently. That has to be a typo. There's no way.
That's the actual E-League tweet. I'm looking at the actual tweet on their Twitter. It was posted
Why was this just posted then?
I don't know, but I didn't even hear about it to begin with. And I thought it was wasn't this what happened at the Arlington Arena over in,
I knew about the Arlington one. Like, that one was obvious when it happened. This one, like, when did this, like, how did nobody know about this?
I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't know this even happened. I thought the Arizona Wildcats, I didn't even know the Final Four teams, which were Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which faced UCF, University of Florida, and then University of Akron, who were the winners of this weekend.
Yeah.
Against the University of Redlands Bulldogs, who 3-0'd in the semifinals, going into the finals with that kind of momentum, just like, whew.
Yeah,
they were good.
This totally skated by. Like, we didn't know about it on any of the previous episodes. Actually, come to think of it, this was announced this happened right about the time that the Epic news came out.
Oh,
so there's a chance it might have been overshadowed by that. There's a chance. I could believe that. So, that's so odd that, like, nobody knew about it. I don't understand why this was just posted. That's, like, weird. Like, I found it recently posted in, like, because part of how we set this up is I just go through the subreddit and I'm just like, news and whatever was posted in the past 6 days. I'm like, okay, this is what we're grabbing. And this was posted 2 days ago. So whoever posted this...
They posted on Reddit 2 days ago. The article's from April 24th, so it is...
I have no idea why this was posted recently then. Whoever posted this, I don't know. I didn't know about it, so I'm glad I saw, because I had no clue this even happened.
just blame everyone on the esports subreddit. It's a good strategy to take.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're all idiots over there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move on from that. That's still, I had no clue that even happened though. Like, I totally missed that even occurred. I mean, I can't speak to it much because I don't follow CRL really, so I can't speak much to that one anyway.
Right.
But we'll just move on to the next bit of news. We're going to talk about the 10 teams so far that have qualified for the RLCS LAN happening in New Jersey. These are the teams that qualified through this weekend. So we have the NA teams, the EU teams, and the SAM teams. The OCE teams will be decided this weekend. So if you're interested in finding out who those are going to be, we'll kind of talk about that a little bit on who we think is going to be. But first, the North American teams that will be going to LAN in order of their placement from first to fourth. We have NRG Esports. Congratulations to them, taking first in league play and in the regional tournament. Then we have Cloud9 with second place, G2 Esports in third, and surprisingly, Rogue there in the fourth place position. Those 4 teams going to LAN. I totally thought Space Station Gaming was going to go. I don't think anybody sat there and was like doubting it would be Space Station Gaming in that 4th spot.
I mean, I personally thought Ghost had a chance. I'm not gonna lie; they had a similar record in the same record for win-loss in league play, and Lethamyr is definitely someone to be reckoned with. But yeah, no, definitely Space Station. I don't know what happened to him, but Rogue coming out of nowhere, opponent at last RLCS spot after a not great league play, only getting 2 wins out of 7 games.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm stoked. I'm so happy that Rogue is here.
The mountain is back, baby.
The mountain has returned.
Yeah, we got Kronovi and Sizz. Like, where can you go? We can't go wrong with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I personally am going to be there for RLCS, so it's going to be so cool to see all these teams. But yeah, it was really shocking, I think, for Rogue to actually push through because, I think most people expect them to drop out of the first round. Really, I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
think
think a
people
lot.
expect them to
I
get
think
past
a lot of
Ghost.
us just wrote them off because they had to beat Ghost and the loser between Cloud9 and Space Station, which
Yeah.
I thought that match could have gone either way. I thought it could have been Cloud9 winning up there or Space Station with the way Cloud9 had been playing.
I expected a lot more out of C9. I'm not gonna lie. I believe, if I remember correctly, after the first 4 games, G2, Cloud9, and Energy were all 4-0. It was either 3-0 or 4-0, but all of them, these 3 teams were all undefeated. So Cloud9 being 4-3, I know obviously 2 of those losses are Energy 2, but I don't know. I expected it to just be like 7-0, 6-1, 5, like the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
And seeing how that it wasn't actually the same order as it was in league play, a little interesting too.
Yeah.
But at least these 3 teams all made it. The 3 main teams for NA, the ones that are always the fan favorites.
The big 3, that one's to be expected.
Yeah. It's that 4th spot that these other 5 teams have to fight for. And Space Station, I believe this is their first RLCS attempt, correct?
Well, they just got
which
promoted
team?
from the RLRS Space Station.
Yeah.
Space Station just came up, so we're gonna have. I mean, we'll talk about EU side in a second, but there are 3 teams in total, right, that came from the RLRS.
And Splice is another one.
3.
Barcelona and Triple Trouble.
Oh no, that's Europe.
I thought you said 3 for NA. I was like, there can only be 2.
No. 3 total from NA and EU. Sorry, but
no, we didn't have any RLRS team. No, we had 4 total between like the last season. Both like the 2 RLCS teams and the 2 RLRS teams from both NA and EU swapped. So you had 4 new teams to the RLCS between NA and EU.
Oh, okay.
That was Splice, Space Station Gaming, Triple Trouble, and FC Barcelona.
I'm saying for LAN.
For LAN, we've got 2 going to LAN among those 4.
Right.
And I'm actually I'm a little sad. I know Splice has a couple people that are previous favorites. I know Jacob, previously on Energy, and then Karma, who is, I believe, the only female Rocket League Pro player.
Yeah, she is.
That's pretty cool. Usually you talk about the rarities in Rocket League Pro. It's like, this guy plays keyboard mouse, or this guy has a really weird setup where he puts forward on the analog to accelerate or something like that. But then you hear news about Karma, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. And this is the same thing where it's just like, you have places like Oceania in South America naturally just getting into the RLCS now, because there's before, when the games started, there was like playing Rocket League down there, and now you've got teams making it up there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, Splice, they were nothing special this season in my book. I didn't expect much from them, to be honest. I mean, that was kind of a flop. We'll discuss that one in a little bit. The next group is the EU teams that qualified to go to the RLCS LAN. In their order from 1st to 4th. First, you have Renault Vitality. 2nd, FC Barcelona. 3rd, Triple Trouble. And then 4th, PSG Esports. Both Dignitas and TSM missing out on that 4th place position. Dignitas, not surprising. TSM, I was kind of surprised. I mean, the last week of league play, they got demolished. And then they continued that demolition here.
Yeah, and I think, again, the story from the EU side, unfortunately, is more about who's not going versus who is going, because you do have these 2, and again, powerhouse teams from last season, in Dignitas and TSM, and neither one were able to make it out of the promotion tournament. I think, as you said, Ryan, with Dignitas, the cracks were there. I think a lot of people still expected them, perhaps, it's Dignitas, they'll pull it out, it's Turbo, it's Violent Panda, it's Yukio, like they'll figure it out, but they couldn't get it done. And then the other side of it too with TSM is like what happened to these guys? I mean, these guys they took down a LAN, like 2 seasons
and
ago, right?
that's what I'm saying too, is like, you're right, it is about the teams that didn't make it. TSM, previous E-League champions. Dignitas,
Three-time?
previous world champions, and then also went all the way to the grand finals against Cloud9. And then the Bricks, who are the recent WSOE champions. Oh, don't forget, Dignitas also won DreamHack Leipzig. So these are 3 like really recent LAN winners not even making it to the RLCS LAN. Like, that's wild to me.
Yeah, and like you said, Dignitas not making it is not as big a surprise. We all knew K-Dop leaving was going to be a huge deficit for Dignitas, as we can clearly see he's very much on Red Alt, going 6-1, almost just dominating every single game with Scrub Killa and Fairy Peak. Personal favorite is Fairy Peak, and then you see these other teams, and you I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's just wild because it's just, I mean, going into the season, Dignitas had just come off the win at DreamHack, and so everybody was like, oh, they don't seem to be shaken much by this loss of K-Dop, and then League Play hit, and they just went and just went kaput, like nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. Again, I don't think people expected the drop to be this hard. But that's, and I say it a lot, Rocket League is definitely at the highest level a game about form,
Can you maintain that form?
And can you carry it through a whole season? It's like we see it less in NA because we have 3 such typically dominant teams online, but like in EU, man, it's like one bad week and the whole thing gets derailed. Dignitas, they started slow and they just never really
they never recovered.
And I think with because you only get one matchup against every team, it's like it's hard to do well. It's hard to do well because if you're not on form for 6 weeks basically, then you're not gonna make it. And we've seen 3 great teams really, if you counting the Bricks in EU, just not doing well this season. It's rough.
Just falling left and right. It was just, it's odd looking at EU and not seeing any of those 3 among the people listed. One thing though, interesting, I mean, Triple Trouble, the only RLCS team aside from the Bricks that's not sponsored or not represented by someone, and RLCS LAN, baby. So happy for those guys though. Oh yeah, I mean that's a good look. That helps make anybody who's interested in picking up a team, they see them, they're like, hey, they're free, they're going to LAN, like that's good for us. So I mean, I hope that works out well for them. I hope that they pick something up off of that. I hope that they do well at LAN so that people are more inclined, like what happened with TSM. They went in as Weedham girls and got 3rd, and then got picked up by one of the biggest esports groups in North America, or in the world actually. TSM's huge. So hopefully that goes well. And then moving on to the next one, the South American LAN teams are going to be Low Key Esports and Ints Esports. The first place from their league play was Erodium, and they just missed out to the 2nd and 3rd place teams. Have you guys watched much of the SAM stuff? Do y'all know much about these teams?
No, I haven't gotten to watch almost any of these matches. I don't think I've even heard of most of these teams.
Yeah.
However, when you're Erodium, right? You're 6-1. You're basically the top of your league play. You have this expectation to at least make it. However, unfortunately for South America, they only get spots, and so it does put a little bit more pressure. And they did succumb to that pressure, and they missed out. However, I don't see them struggling in the future to make it, assuming they keep up with their consistency as they've shown in league play.
Yeah.
And they prove that they're definitely worth making it in the season.
Yeah, I think if those guys stick together, they'll be something wild.
Yeah, and I think, again, I'll sorry. Running out of voice here from Cassie. No, I was going to say that with the South America, from what I've watched of it, it's just hard to be consistent in that league, and it's a brand new region. So all of these teams it's their very first times in RLCS. They're all brand new to the system and new to the top level. So
yeah,
you have to expect some inconsistency. It's rough, I think, to win league play, to be the first team and on the top and not get an automatic qualification, which is something we talked about earlier, but that's rough, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that just stings. But looking at their league play stuff, though, it looks like Ints actually gave Erodium a pretty good run for their money anyway. I can see how, like, I was even talking with Eldino on it, like, back at the start of the podcast series about how the top three were all extremely close. Erodium, Loki, and Ints were already very close differential-wise. They were all undefeated moving into, like, the later weeks. And so, like, this one, I'm not surprised about it to an extent. I mean, especially when you look at the league play results. Erodium only beat Ints 3-2 in the series. So, like, they barely squeaked out that win. And then they lost to Loki 2-3 in league play. So it was extremely close in those matches. So, just unfortunate that they didn't show up on the day that they really needed to. But I mean, it happens. TSM and Dignitas, same thing. They didn't show up when they needed to. Space Station Gaming didn't show up when they needed to. It's just one of those things that's like, you gotta be raring and ready to go day of. And so, just unfortunate for them. But I mean, it's how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too when we get the final group set up as well, where these guys, how they perform on LAN. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what the skill gap is, if any, across the region here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm most excited about, is to see how they do. Looking at the groups, OCE and Sam, I think, are going to have it rough, to say the least.
Yeah, do we have a tentative grouping for these teams? Because I know OCE.
No, we don't have tentative. We have like official. We're just waiting on the OCE people to see where they end up. So we'll talk about that one here in a minute. We'll talk about that during the freewheeling segment. I'll explain that one more. And then OCE LAN teams, we find those out this weekend. So if you're interested, go check that stuff out. If you look on the official RLCS esports website, you'll be able to go find where to watch all that. It should be something with Gfinity's Oceanic Cup stuff. You'll be able to find it. I'm sure you will. And then, so that's it for the news. Now we're going to go into the roster shuffle. So far, the only interesting bit of news on that, really interesting bit of news, Jacob has been added to the RBG esports roster and will play with them for both DreamHack Dallas and Valencia. He is officially replacing Astro on the team. And that comes after they get a 4th place finish for RLRS. So they are still in RLRS for the next season. So happy that RBG pulled that off. They kind of skated by they barely just got by. I mean, like, I think it was like a very simple differential of like, they just happened to have like one more win or something from league play.
Something like that.
Yeah, like it was going to be them or the Embers. And if the Embers had won their series, like RBG was done. Like it had to play out like a certain way and RBG wasn't making it. And it was like, it just played out like the only possible way that they could make it that was left to them. And so I'm happy for them. Hopefully this edition of Jacob hopefully adding Cobb will fix things.
Yeah, for sure. I have actually watched, funny enough, I watched more RBG from the Rival Series than I have a South America game from the
That's not surprising at all. We're not in South America. That's not surprising at all.
What times are the South America matches? Are they at a
They're done now.
Time?
They're done now, but they happened like right after the EU ones, I want to say. It was like right after the NA or after the EU league play that it happened.
EU and then NA, and then I just watch NA and then stop. So Oceania is going to happen this weekend, like you said. And hopefully we don't see something where we have like, although I mean obviously it's cool and whatnot, but it's pretty consistent. We got Renegades and Icon, both solid teams.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Renegades are formerly the Chiefs team, and Icon is formerly Tainted Minds. Both LAN teams they've made the past 2 LANs that OCE's, or all the LANs that OCE's been a part of it. So, I mean, I'm not expecting anything different. I'll be surprised if something different happens, though.
And I was.
Oh wait, what are you
sorry.
saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna say about Jacob being added to RPG. I'm just glad that Jacob's back in the scene. I think on his day, he is a tremendous player.
Yeah.
And I know that unfortunately for a lot of people, the lasting impression of him was on that somewhat doomed rogue team with Sizz, in the RLCS.
Yeah.
And like you hate for that to be the last impression for anyone. So I'm glad that he's sort of getting a redemption here, both to play in these DreamHack games, and I'm assuming he'll be in the RLRS with them as well.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's my thing though, is I'm happy to see that he still is plugging away trying to make this happen. Because I mean, a lot of pros easily could just be like, yeah, I'm washed up, I'm done, and like him continuing to plug along and keep pushing. I'm happy. I love watching him and stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you guys updated on all that stuff as DreamHack Dallas and Valencia unfold. But that will do it here today for the roster shuffle. So moving on, we're going to do away with the viewer mail segment, and we're going to just switch it over to something more kind of loose for us as the podcast hosts and everything. Just going to be kind of freewheeling it, just kind of discuss what we want to. So you guys showed an interest in talking about the LAN groups. Do y'all want to talk about that, or do y'all have something else you want to discuss?
A little bit. I did actually want to take 1 second, because you talked about we were talking about the Oceania teams and how Renegade and Icon were previously Tainted Minds and Chiefs.
Yes.
And they were obviously in the previous LANs that OC were in. And although Chiefs team, Tainted Minds got knocked out immediately. They didn't win a single match. They lost to Evil Geniuses, and then they immediately lost to Cloud9 in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
But Chiefs actually won a few of their matches and actually put up a fight against some of the EU teams. They beat Evil Geniuses in the losers round 3. Got it pulled up here.
That was also when they had Drippe though. So I'm interested to see if they're able to bring out the same level of firepower that they had before without him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I don't believe I have the league play results from last LAN. However, I'm sure they were very similar to what they are now, where it's same 2 teams, very like top of the leaderboard by quite a margin. And I expect at least a decent showing from these teams, especially when you're throwing in South America teams. And how when OCE was first introduced into the RLCS, they were seen as like the kind of lower teams, kind of ones that you don't see much out of, and if they get something, it's kind of exciting, but at the same time, they're not going to win. But it'll be cool to hopefully see a lot more out of these out of the OCE teams now that they're almost kind of part of the core group. Now that South America's coming in and kind of replacing OCE in the previous LANs, and how OCE was looked upon as that bottom team and not going to win, and now it's South America, and now you never know. Like maybe even without Drippe, these OCE teams can. We'll see. I do want to see them push themselves, get even farther than they did last time. Just a few games from the grand final.
Well, I mean, now that we're doing the switch for LAN, I think they've got an even more difficult mountain to climb here, because now it's that group stage into a single elimination bracket. So I think that if you're these newer regions, it's even harder now. Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice because they get a little more chance to play more games, but I mean, you're only getting to play 2.
Yeah, and it's tough because, again, with this group stage format, not only are you getting such a few amount of games, but you're probably playing the better teams from North America and EU.
You're playing one team from NA and one team from EU no matter whether you're from SAM or OCE, like you're playing one from each of those regions. Like that is rough.
Yeah, and just for those of us who are perhaps uninitiated, can you just give us a rundown of what those groups will look like for this upcoming LAN?
I'll give you each group one at a time, and we can discuss those as we go.
Okay.
So the first group, this one is going to be rough for whoever ends up in this one. For Group A, we have NRG Esports, Triple Trouble, and then whatever OCE team gets second in the regional playoffs will take that spot. That's a rough group right there. Triple Trouble has been awesome during league play. They're the only team that beat Renault Vitality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we don't need to say anything about what NRG's done in NA. They've been an absolute terror. So
their record speaks for itself. They need no introduction.
Yeah, that first group there is horrifying if you're the second OCE.
Well, and it gets worse. Like, as you look at these groups, like, it gets worse and worse for these SAM and OCE teams that I'm just like, I don't see how they stand a chance. I don't see how any of them are going to make it into the final bracket, to be honest with you. Group B, this one, I can see the SAM team possibly having a chance. This is like the only one I think that they may have a chance. It's Renault Vitality, INTS Esports, that is the SAM team, and then Rogue. I think this is Renault Vitality obviously gets one of the spots that moves on to the single bracket. I don't know how good INTS is, but if any team is going to have a chance, I think this would be the only time that they may have a chance to take it.
You're not certainly going to pick against the Mountain here, are you?
No. I'm not picking against. I think Rogue is still going to make it, but I'm just saying, like, this is probably the best chance that they have if you're an OCE or SAM team.
Yeah, but so again, so even out of the first two, right? If you want to say, okay, who are we definitely losing to? Well, you're definitely losing to Renault Vitality.
Oh, for sure.
And so
I think Renault Vitality is going to come out undefeated from that group.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would be crazy if they didn't, right? So, and then even in Group A, it's like, okay, who do you know you're not going to beat? Oh, yeah, there's no way you're beating NRG. So now your other option is Triple Trouble or INTS, or Rogue, if you're, again, we're talking about the perspective of the OCE and South America teams. But yeah, it's rough.
No, it's extremely rough. But again, like, I think that's the one that they may have the best chance. Group C. Oh man, Group C. Whoever is the OCE team here who gets first in the regional playoffs is straight up screwed. They are not making it. I'm calling it now. They're not making it. FC Barcelona and G2 are in this group.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
And then you have whoever gets OCE's first place position. I don't see OCE making it out of that one alive. Like, if I'm OCE, I'm praying to God that I probably get the second place seed, because I would rather take my chances against Triple Trouble than G2 and FCB.
But G2 on LAN, though. They've been so...
I don't know. This is different. This is a whole new world. I'm willing to bet that G2 is going to come in and they'll have gotten like a good night's rest. They might actually walk into the stadium that day. You never know. You don't know, man.
I'll believe it when I see it, and I will be there, so I'll actually see it. But I don't know. I mean,
let me know if you see Chicago and Rizzo there. Hopefully they actually show up.
They should. Well,
hopefully they walk in.
You say that like JNAPS wasn't a problem too. SMH. But anyway, yes, that is also a disastrous group to be in, generally speaking.
Oh yeah, I think among all the groups, that's probably like my least favorite. Like for the OCE and SAM teams, I'm just like, you're screwed in that one. And then the last one, Group D, is going to be Low Key Esports. This is the SAM team. And then Cloud9 and PSG.
Yeah, that's no fun either. I think Low Key might have a shot against PSG.
See, I would have said that normally, but PSG got like third place in league play, and like they actually did really well throughout league play. They really their only thing is they just have to avoid being reverse swept.
Well, if we're gonna drive the same storylines into the ground, if I'm allowed to say that about G2 Online, I'll give you that comment with PSG. But yeah, on the whole, do you see anything other than all the NA teams and all the EU teams just getting out of these groups? I mean,
I really don't. Like, I mean, SAM and OCE are just like, you're screwed. I mean, I would love to somehow be proven wrong and see at least one of them make it out of groups. But, I mean, just the NA and EU teams, like, they just have so much more experience. They get so much more opportunity than these two groups do receive that I don't see them being able to get out of it. I mean, any NA and EU teams listed here, like, I'm pretty positive if they are in either region, they would easily be first, undefeated, easily first. That it just makes it hard for me to want to root against, like, it makes it hard for me to believe that either of these groups have a chance out.
Yeah, and again, now that we, I'm kind of looking at the full list in front of us here, really the only way that I see it is that either INS is able to get one past Rogue and they're able to sneak out of that group, or, and I think this actually might be even the higher likelihood, whoever's the first seed for OC, I'm going to assume that it's Renegades, because that's just historically how it's always gone for them.
Yeah.
I could see a team like that being able to upset either G2 or Barcelona, because, again, Barcelona doesn't have the LAN experience, and G2 is a little bit inconsistent offline. So yeah. I think you could see something there, but Group A and Group D, there's just no way. I don't see it out of either of those two.
I mean, Group C, if either of those teams even remotely are present and like playing their games, like I don't see Renegades or Icon, or if somehow the OCE spot goes to Out of Order or 1NE Esports, which are the other two that have a chance to make it to LAN, if it goes to either of them, like, they're done. Like, if either of those two teams manage to take one of those OCE spots, like, they're definitely done in groups. I think Icon and Renegades are the only two that would maybe stand a chance because they have LAN experience at RLCS. They're the only two that do.
And,
or go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. Like you said, trying to play at a LAN for the first time and against these big, massive Goliath teams who with not only a lot of experience, but like almost impeccable records.
Yeah,
absolutely dominating both league play and previous LANs. Not as much doing LAN, but yeah, no. Seeing these OC teams at least coming back, and hopefully that I'm praying to see at least one OCE team, but it's not looking great. Like you said, if it's not Renegades or Icon that make it, probably not making it at a group stage. However, if for some miracle one of the Out of Order or one of any esports managed to make it to that group stage with some fantastic way, like they sweep in order to make it there, then maybe they'll have like the momentum or the mentality to get themselves at least against one of these insane NA or EU teams.
Yeah, and one thing I also want to point out here too. This is one thing I didn't realize. This LAN has the most teams with very little LAN experience ever. You've got Triple Trouble. You've got Rogue. Kronovi's the only player on that team that's been at the LANs. You've got INTS. You've got FC Barcelona. Well, FC Barcelona have a little bit of LAN experience, but really not much. And then you also got Loki. And the two OCE teams, like, they have experience, but I mean, I'm not going to give them a whole lot of leeway on that because it's literally like they're 2 times to RLCS.
Right.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where, like, in theory, it shouldn't be that much different, but playing in front of a crowd, playing away from your home setup, a lot of these guys still play at their, own home. They don't, like, stay together or anything like that. Like, you wouldn't think it makes that much of a difference, but, I mean, I've been and I've seen it. It's a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, I'm willing to bet it is.
And a lot like the collegiate scene, in that perspective, like people in the same college versus people in the same country, right? People in the same college, they're living within the same city at least or within like the same few mile radius where they can easily meet up, they can play together, they can talk to each other, like communicate, and get down to a personal level where they're just building that chemistry both in and out of the game constantly. Whereas people in, like, let's say South America, where you've got these large countries where they're not necessarily in the same area, they don't have that luxury of just constantly, I don't know, like meeting up with each other and always beginning to play together.
Well, and esports just aren't funded as well in those. And like OCE and SAM just don't have esports funded to the same extent that NA and EU or even the Asian countries get to experience. They don't have that support from it yet. They're slowly getting it, but it still just isn't at that level. So until they really receive that like monetary push in those countries, it's just going to be difficult for them in any esport, not just Rocket League, just any esport.
Yeah, and the thing that will kickstart that, a little tidbit of knowledge I found out recently, esports in general recognized as an official sport in countries including the US, France, and Germany, which are NA and EU specifically. And you have these other countries in South America and OCE where that's not a thing yet. If that does become in the future, then you might start seeing more funding because it's like it's gaining popularity. All of esports, it's just gaining traction, popularity. It's growing at a rapid pace to the point where we're inviting teams from basically all over the world, basically everywhere. We're covering 4 of the 7 continents. One of them being Antarctica. Which I don't think we'll be seeing any Rocket League from there anytime soon. But just the idea that these countries are now recognizing something that happens on a computer where you're sitting down doing almost nothing with your body as a physical sport. That's where you start getting that money. That's where you start getting the recognition. That's where you start getting the momentum to becoming as big as the big countries like the US and other European countries that do the same.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Perino, do you have any closing remarks you want to make?
Okay, I'll ask a question for the group. Hot take, really quick. We know most of the teams in this who's taking LAN. My pick is NRG.
That's not a hot take.
No, I'm just saying pretty quickly. I know NRG's not a hot take, but I'm just saying real quick, off the top of your head, who you got?
Renault Vitality.
Yeah, absolutely. My boy Fairy Peak, he's one of my favorite players, and when combined with K-Dop on Dignitas, like one of the best teams, like showing up to the finals 3 times in a row, and then obviously you have Turbo Pulsar coming from that one team he won, then he grouped up. But now that they're split, they're weak. The 2 main roster are weak. Then you have K-Dop mixed with these other fantastic players, Grub Killer and Fairy Peak. You've got an unstoppable team, and they've proven it without a doubt. That I believe it's going to be interesting. I would absolutely love to see Renault and NRG in the finals because that'll be one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting RLCS.
I just want to see them play at all. I just want to see one of them play each other.
That's true. But in the finals, it would be, like, amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Once again, please consider following us here on Twitch and all that jazz. We'll be uploading this episode to YouTube later on for anyone who missed tonight's live recording here on Twitch. We'll be back on Monday with our Launchpad tournament, which is our weekly 3v3 that we put on. And Perino, shameless plug, go.
So I, again, am still doing casting work for Play Versus. That is PLAYVS on Twitch. If you're interested in any high school Rocket League action, tomorrow is the last day to catch it. we will have the Georgia State Finals. So go ahead and watch that there.
Stealth Ninja, shameless plug, go.
Probably going live right after this.
Cool. All right.
Twitch is right there.
Guys, this has been Around the Scene presented by Playing with Rockets. I'm Ryan. That's Perino and Stealth Ninja. It has been our pleasure to have you with us. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.